If you're watching this, I already know something about you. You're not average, you're not lazy, you're not unmotivated, you're ambitious as hell, and you've already created some success. But here's the kicker. You feel stuck, and no one around you really gets it, right? You've tried to fix it with planners, strategies, another program, another launch, and still something feels off. Here's what no one is telling you. You are not stuck because you need a better plan. You're stuck because you keep operating from an identity that created your current reality. And until you change that, no amount of hustle, hacks, or habits will get you to the next level. Stick with me. In this video, I am going to shift the way that you view life, business, and your identity. This series is an invitation to a whole new edge. So make sure you hit that subscribe button so you do not miss a second. Let's go. I'm Jess Pinili. I'm a mindset and a business coach. I have coached over the past 6 years 400 plus women. I have helped them rewire their subconscious identity so that they can scale their income and shift their lives into the truest alignment with their highest self. But here's what I want to say to you from the start. This isn't a strategy video. This is an identity intervention. Because the truth is, every result that you've created in your life right now, it's all based on the level of identity that you have been operating from. And if you're stuck, it is not because you are not capable. It's because your subconscious does not feel safe with being someone brand new yet. Let's break this down, because this is going to be one of the most important truths that I share with you if you are serious about taking yourself to your next level, to your next edge. Your identity isn't just a label. It's not your job title, your Instagram bio, your personality type, or your star sign. Your identity is the internal blueprint that your mind, your body, and your nervous system dictate what is safe to experience in your 3D reality. And it also dictates what isn't safe. It's the energetic perimeter of your self-concept. It decides, without you even realizing, what you're allowed to want, what you're allowed to receive, what you think you have to earn, and what you unconsciously block. And here is where it gets wild. You didn't wake up one day and consciously design this current identity. It was built over years, formed quietly, subtly, and consistently. It was shaped by the words you heard on repeat as a child, even when they were not meant for you, the rules you learn in your home, your culture, and in your school, the moments where you felt too much, too little, too loud, too emotional, and too ambitious, the times where being visible actually got you punished and staying small got you praise, the relationships where love felt like a performance and silence felt like survival. Every time your nervous system felt unsafe, rejected, or unseen, it made a mental note. And from those notes, you built a version of you who knew how to stay safe, who knew how to win, who knew how to succeed without risking anything too real. This is how identity forms, not from your potential, but from your patterns. And over time, that identity worked. It got you here. Maybe it made you high functioning. Maybe it made you magnetic, independent, successful. But here is the hard truth that I want you to understand. The version of you currently, she was built to survive, not to expand. She was built to keep it together, not to break through. She was built to hold just enough, but not too much. Because too much success, too much love, too much visibility, that's where the alarm bells start going off. And this is the part that nobody speaks about. Your identity is like software. Every belief, every unconscious rule, every unspoken should, it's all code. And that code, it's running your entire system every single day. Your thoughts, your decisions, your relationships, your bank account, your business, your ability to rest, and your ability to receive. It is all filtered through that software. And what you see in your external life, that's just the user interface. The way that I envision it, it's like the display. The front-facing experience that is dictating your internal code, the one that is running in the background that you don't even realize. So if your identity is still running the "I'm only safe if I prove myself" program, then you will burn out every single time that you succeed. If it's running the "it's not safe to be big" program, you will begin to shrink the moment things start to scale. If it's running the "love equals sacrifice" program, then no matter how much you achieve, you will always feel guilty receiving more. Here is the bottom line. You cannot build a new level of life on top of your current identity. The system will glitch. You will self-sabotage. You'll slow down when you need to speed up. You'll second guess when you need to lead. You'll watch other people expand and secretly resent them, because deep down, you know that you are capable of so much more, but your identity is still stuck in survival. So what do? We don't add more strategy. We update the software. You don't need another how-to video. You need a recode, a reset, a deep reprogramming of the identity that decides what your life is allowed to look like. Because when your identity is calibrated to your highest potential, everything else updates with it. Your habits, your actions, your money, your power, your energy, and your presence. All of it becomes inevitable. But it starts with this one question. Is your current identity truly built for the life that you say you want? Or is it clinging to the one that helped you survive? In 2019, I quit my job. I moved to Bali and I started this online business. But before that, I spent a couple of years as a gym fitness manager, and I felt miserable. I felt like I was boxed in, even though I could feel in my soul that I had so much potential, that I was capable of so much more than what I was currently experiencing. I stayed small because I felt unsafe asking for more. I felt unsafe receiving more. And as time progressed in that job, I became more and more resentful to show up for the job. I became more resentful to my life because I could feel that I had boxed myself in, but I didn't quite believe that I deserved or it was safe to have more than what I was experiencing. And I was at this point where I thought to myself, I have read the books. I am watching the YouTube videos. I am listening to the podcasts. So why hasn't it clicked? And maybe you're wondering the same. It's because you were trying to layer a brand new identity over one that you actually need to completely dissolve in order to rebuild. Your brain is not wired for fulfillment. It's wired to experience familiar things. And just before I quit my job, I didn't realize this, and maybe you haven't realized it, and it changes everything. Because what feels familiar to your nervous system, even if it's stress, scarcity, burnout, or overthinking, it will always default back to those things every single time. And that's exactly what I was experiencing. That is the role of your subconscious. It's not some mystical layer of your mind. It is the command center running 95% of your life subconsciously, not based on what you want, but what you recognize, what it knows, what it's been taught to see as safe, predictable, and normal. Your subconscious doesn't actually care if you're happy. It cares if you are consistent with your current identity. So even if you consciously desire much more than you are experiencing in your life, more money, more love, more experiences, more opportunities, if your identity blueprint doesn't match that reality, your subconscious will quietly and powerfully and silently pull you back every single time. That's why you can say affirmations every single morning and still feel like you're blocked by noon. Visualize the life that you want and still panic when the opportunity shows up. Or desire much more wealth and still feel sick in your stomach when you try to raise your prices or get paid. It's not a mindset issue. You're not lazy. You're not unmotivated. You're trying to download a $1 million life on dial-up programming. So now you understand the version of your current identity cannot take you to your brand new level. It cannot take you to the next edge. So how do we actually shift this identity? Not just in theory, not from a mood board, but in your body, in your decisions, in your daily energy. Here is the exact process that I use, the exact process that I teach my clients, and the one that is going to create identity level change. Step number 1. Conscious awareness. First, you need to name the unconscious identity that you have been operating from. Not to shame her, not to say things that make your ego feel good, but to recognize who that truly is. You need to see who you clearly are right now. Because what stays unconscious, it stays in control. You have to ask yourself, who have I been being? Not just in the big moments, but most importantly, in the quiet, small moments of your life. The moments where things feel unclear, the moment when things feel uncertain, when no one's watching you, when fear kicks in and you default to that old programming. And then, out loud, you need to consciously state who that identity is. Say it out loud. I'm the woman who over-delivers and still questions everything. I'm the woman who fears being seen but craves more visibility. Or I'm the woman who hustles for success because ease feels too dangerous. The moment that you consciously name who you have been operating as is the moment that you actually create separation. You actually realize that's not who I am. That's not who I want to bring forth in my life. That is just who I've conditioned to be. And now we interrupt it. Step number 2. Interrupt the pattern. This part isn't sexy. It's not always loud or dramatic. It's subtle, sneaky, often inconvenient, but it is essential. You need to become the watcher of your own behavior. You need to start catching the micro patterns in real time. You know, the moments where you lower your price without even thinking. The moment when you stop yourself from actually sharing your opinion. Or the moment your tone starts to shift when you are wanting to be liked and validated. And instead of letting it slide and letting it play out as you always have, you interrupt the loop. You pause, you breathe, and you ask yourself this: is this coming from the woman I was or the woman I am becoming? Because a split-second decision is where your entire future pivots. Step number 3. Rewire the blueprint. This is where we reprogram. Not by writing fluffy affirmations that we get bored of saying after a week or two, but by creating new truths that our nervous system can actually trust. We anchor in a brand new story. We speak it out loud, we feel it, we pair it with action. So our body begins to believe us. It begins to believe I am the woman who charges her worth. Not because of ego, because I finally know what my energy is worth. I am the woman who speaks boldly online because her truth is bigger than her fear of judgment. And I am the woman who gets to have wealth, rest, and purpose because success no longer has to hurt. And the more that you repeat that truth, not just mentally, but actually through movement, voice, breath, and decision, the more that it becomes your new normal. You're no longer just thinking differently. You're actually being different. And step number 4, embodiment. This is the real test. Can you act like her before it actually feels safe? Before you have the results? Before anyone else claps and congratulates you? Can you embody the next level version of yourself in the quiet moments? When no one's validating it, when your ego wants to crawl back to safety, when the discomfort in your body tells you that it's not working. Because this is actually where most people fall off. But the truth is, you don't shift your identity by waiting to feel ready. You shift it by showing up as her anyway, day by day, decision by decision, trigger by trigger. Until one day you wake up and you realize you don't need to fake it anymore. You've become it. Now, if this is clicking for you, and you are ready to go deeper into the identity work. You're ready to go into the work that holds you to a higher standard, that brings you to your next level again and again. I have created a space for that. You can check the link in the description below, whether you're watching this now, at time of recording, or 6 months from when this was uploaded. That's where you'll find it. And now that you understand the identity trap, in the second training, we are diving into the emotional side of this, the invisible identity that keeps you playing small. It's not a fear of failure that's capping your potential. It's fear of what happens when you actually grow, when you outshine others, when you can no longer relate to the old version of you. The second training is going to hit different. Click over now so you don't miss it.